In retrospect, this video is all over the place, but it's done so. In my quest to make a FNAF theory video, I found the interesting theory that the original 6 FNAF games that Scott made were no longer canon to the game continuity. I, of course, made the reasonable decision to gather all the evidence for both sides of the argument and compare. Let, let's see if which one's more true now. Now, before we get into my comparisons, just a short break to tell you if you want to see more of these, like theories every once in a while, every year, make sure to hit the big red button. You know, no, not that one. Yeah, that one. I don't know where the other one came from. Let's first establish what I'm arguing with. So it goes as the original 6 FNAF games that Scott made were our in-universe games in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, and because of this, it cannot be trusted on how canon they are to the continuity anymore. Now, the main evidence for this is in the game Help Wanted, where the original 6 games are stated as in-universe games, and at the beginning of the game, you are given a short speech about how all of the stories that you know about FNAF are fictitious lies. You also later throughout the game learn from the Tape Girl that Fazbear hired a developer to create these games as an elaborate cover-up. Another point of evidence people use for this idea is that Scott stated in an interview that he prefers sci-fi stories. Now, with all this evidence for it, the idea, let's talk about some of the points that I have against this idea. Alright, prepare yourself, because this is a long rabbit hole I've come up with of strings of details attaching to each game to create this one point. Under the Pizzaplex, you had the Fnaxis Pizzeria from Pizzeria Simulator. Alright, in the game, you have Scrap Baby, who had been kicked out of Ennard in an argument that takes place between Stitch Location and FNAF 6. In Stitch Location, you have Circus Baby, the one-time animatronics that eventually become Ennard. In FNAF 6, you have Molten Freddy, who is Ennard using some Freddy mask. In Stitch Location, you also have the Nightmare Chambers once you pass code 1983 in. The Nightmare Chambers are similar to the FNAF 4 gameplay bedroom. Taking this into account, that could probably mean that these 3 games are connected, and probably also canon because of the pizzeria under the Pizzaplex. A FNAF 1 voice recording is also an Easter egg in FNAF 4 on the toy phone box. This could also mean that the player that you are playing as is experienced FNAF 1. Just a small point, which could also connect FNAF 1 to this string. In FNAF 1, you have voice recordings talking about the Bite of 87. The Bite of 87 takes place around the time of FNAF 2, most likely to Jeremy Fitzgerald after he's moved to the day shift. In FNAF 2, you're also heard recordings of someone using the yellow suit, which is probably Springtrap when William uses it to kill some more kids. So, along with all of these, the 6 games probably still are canon. But I have more evidence. Moving on, I have points to go against other points said for the idea, such as Tape Girl mentions that this is an elaborate cover up, yes, but she also mentions that the games were made to bring light to situations, saying that whatever those games were true. My rebuttal against Scott's preferring sci-fi stories, simple explanation. Just because he prefers the sci-fi stories does not necessarily mean he'll be cutting all ghost stories from it, such as in the modern games there are still ghosts present, such as the Nightmare on plushies in Security Breach, the white tiger in the security basement. Some final points for my stance against the idea. Golden Freddy isn't present in Help Wanted at all, as he's not in any of the recreations or anything, but we know he was in our games. So these games are definitely not one-to-one at all. Some other points, such as in 2 continuities, we have the books and the movies where William Afton puts on a yellow suit and kills kids. It would be kind of narrowly weird to have just in the game continuity just cut that part of the story completely out. Now you could make the argument that the books are older and the story is changing, but the movies are still being made present time alongside modern games, so it wouldn't really make much sense either. And for my final point, if you were to cut off all the original games from the main storyline, then that'll be about 5 years worth of games done nothing with. And we have many mini games in those stories that fit together to make puzzle pieces and have also been unsolved. And even with modern games, we are giving information to solve those past games, such as Midnight Motorist. But many other things that could be called into question, like the fact that Ultimate Custom Night isn't stated as an in-universe game in Help Wanted at all, or any other modern games. So that would mean Ultimate Custom Night is still canon to the games, 100%. That would mean William Afton is getting still tortured in his personal hell. You could also call into question the survival logbook, because that is written by Mike, who is the FNAF 1 protagonist most likely. It contains the crying child spirit most likely with whoever is also in Golden Freddy most likely. So saying that the original six games aren't canon anymore would also mean that this book and Ultimate Custom Night would be kind of weirdly placed. Scott has also explicitly mentioned that he does not like retconning things on whims, and making this canon or uncanon would be a pretty big retcon. It would also be narratively unsatisfying, as it would mean 5 years of the games will go down the drain. Because there are still many games in those games, and games itself, that are not fully solved yet. Lexus Location and Midnight Motorist. And the modern games are helping with solving those games still. So, in conclusion, with taking all the points into account, evidence, and rebuttals, in my own opinion, my stance is that the original six games are still relevant to the game continuity, and that they are not just retconned. Oh, look, the big run's back. I wonder it's for. Wait, whose hand is that? This is so stupid.